Good day. Here are the stories for the Manila Times for Sunday, September 26, 2021. Three of the presidential candidates are in unity talks for a single opposition slate in the 2022 elections. Senator Emmanuel Manny Pacquiao, Manila Mayor Francisco Isko Moreno Domagoso, and Vice President Maria Leonor Leni Robredo met with the Sambayan. Carpio had said that Pacquiao was one of the candidates Sambayan was considering for its ticket. The boxing icon had announced his plan to run for president under the Partido Demokratiko Pilipino Lakas ng Bayan or PDP Laban faction of Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel III. The group under Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi had endorsed Senator Christopher Lawrence Bongo for president and President Rodrigo Duterte for vice president. The intra-party dispute had been raised before the Commission on Elections or COMELEC to determine which faction was legitimate. Pacquiao in Filipino said he was open to talks, especially if the goal was unity and for the good of the country. Pacquiao said he believed that the minds of the country's leaders should prioritize the welfare of the Filipinos over their personal interests. Aside from Pacquiao, Sambayan had also spoken with Domagoso, who said on Friday that he would not slide down as vice president. Domagoso's running mate is Dr. Willie Ong. Domagoso and Ong are running under Aksyon Demokratiko. The estimated long-run total cost of the coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19 pandemic and quarantines for current and future generations of Filipinos is estimated at 41.4 trillion pesos, according to the National Economic and Development Authority or NEDA. Socioeconomic Planning Secretary Carl Kendrick Chua said in a NEDA statement released on Saturday that the agency had been evaluating the overall cost of COVID-19 and the quarantines for the past 6 months with the support from development partners and affiliated agencies. The Department of Health or DOH neither confirmed nor denied an admission by an official of the Pharmarly Pharmaceuticals Corp that the face shields that were purchased from the firm by the government as part of its response against COVID-19 pandemic had altered expiry dates. When sought for a reaction, Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergire told a Laging Handa briefing on Saturday that it would wait for the results of an ongoing congressional investigation. Crizel Mago, a Pharmarly executive, told the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee on Friday that the company had tampered with the expiry dates on the face shields that were delivered to the DOH. An unidentified witness in a video testimony presented by Senator Ana Teresa Risa Hontiveros in the same hearing claimed that the face shields that were delivered to the government were crumpled, dirty, and not in good shape, but were repacked with a sticker attached to certify that it is a property of the government. Keeping mum on the query about the altered expiry dates, Vergire said that the face shields that were procured by the government were for its health workers and were medical grade and had shelf life. Speaking in Filipino, Vergire admitted that the parts of the face shield may deteriorate over time, like the hardening, pulverization, or discoloration of the foam lining on the upper area of the face shield. Without mentioning whether the DOH received substandard equipment from Pharmarly, Vergire said it was imperative that these conform to the standards the government has set to protect healthcare workers. Manila Mayor Francisco Isko Moreno Domagoso and the Manila City Council approved the grant of amnesty to thousands of public and private transport drivers who have incurred huge amounts of penalties for repeated traffic violations. In a virtual briefing on Saturday with members of the Manila City Hall Reporters Association or MACRA, Dumagoso, who is seeking the presidency in the upcoming 2022 elections, disclosed that some of the violators have accumulated penalties amounting to as much as 600,000 to 800,000 pesos. Moreno said the amnesty was meant to provide relief to drivers, particularly public transport drivers trying hard to make both ends meet because of the dire economic situation brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. Under the amnesty, violators will have to pay for their first violation and need not worry anymore about the accompanying penalties, interests, and surcharges. The move, Moreno said, was in response to the appeal of transport operators after some of their erring drivers accumulated penalties beyond their capacity to pay. The government will ensure the vaccination of 100% of the country's tourism sector workers against the coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19 by the end of the year, vaccine czar Carlito Galvez Jr. said. In his speech during the ceremonial vaccination of tourism workers in Mandaue City, Cebu on Friday, Galvez said this ongoing inoculation will pave the way for the recovery of the industry by increasing the related establishment's operational capacity. It's all systems go for the construction of the 97 billion peso Pasig River Expressway or PAREX project, the country's first evergreen hybrid expressway according to the project proponent San Miguel Corporation or SMC. SMC President Ramon Ang, Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea, Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade and Public Works and Highways Undersecretary for Planning and PPP Service Maria Catalina Cabral led the groundbreaking rides held over the weekend along the Pasig River in Pandacan, Manila. The 19.37-kilometer elevated 6-lane road project will run along the banks of the Pasig River from the Radial Road 10 in Manila to C6 Road or the Southeast Metro Manila Expressway in Taguig. The elevated road network will interconnect the existing skyways, which in the process will link the north, south, east, and west corridors of Metro Manila, thereby easing traffic congestions throughout the metropolis. A cadet of the Philippine National Police Academy or PNPA died on Thursday after being allegedly punched a number of times by his upperclassmen. The Special Task Group Magsayo, led by PNP Chief of Staff and Executive Director Colonel Ernesto Tendero Jr., identified the victim as Cadet 3rd Class George Carl Magsayo, 21, from Pagadian City. Initial investigation revealed that the incident transpired at about 5:40 p.m. on September 23 when Magsayo and his companion went to the room of the suspect, identified as Cadet 2nd Class Steve Cesar Mainat. The suspect cautioned both the victim and his companion, but a few moments after, he allegedly punched the victim 5 times in the stomach. Magsayo lost consciousness and was rushed to the hospital but was declared dead on arrival at 6:43 p.m. In business, energy industry stakeholders in an online forum laid out plans and strategies to boost renewable energy or RE development in the country and help reach the government's 35% RE target by 2030. Speaking at the 4th Renewable Energy Congress on Saturday, Energy Undersecretary Emmanuel Juaneza presented several initiatives of the Department of Energy or DOE to achieve its RE targets. In February this year, the DOE renewed its RE target in its National Renewable Energy Program or NREP, which sets the target at least 35% renewable energy share in the power generation mix by 2030, and it works to drive the energy share to greater than 50% by 2040. Intended for the country's indigenous resources to dominate the Philippines' energy generation mix. The government's RE development targets are ranging from 44,000 megawatts to 71,000 megawatts through years 2030 and 2040. Topping sports, 4 teams begin their best-of-3 quarterfinal series today, September 26, as Northport returns to the playoffs after getting eliminated early in last year's bubble tournament. The Batang Pier ended 5th in the elimination round in the ongoing PBA Philippine Cup, tied with rain or shine with the same 6-5 win-loss record. The Batang Pier, however, earned a higher seeding by virtue of the win over the other rule against the Elasto Painters. In the opening round of the playoffs, Northport faces the San Miguel Beerman team eager to return to glory. Prior to last year's triumph of Barangay Ginebra in the Philippine Cup, San Miguel Beer had claimed the All Filipino Championship for 5 consecutive seasons. But the Beermen will have their hands full against an up-and-coming Batang Pier in Sunday's game, which begins at 6 p.m. at the Don Ronario Ventura State University Gym in Bacolor, Pampanga. Northport has been one of the busiest teams in the off-season, and one of its biggest acquisitions was 7-foot center Greg Slaughter. Today's front-page columnist is Marlen Ronquillo. He believes the government does not tax the super-rich. Our editorial today believes the Philippine economy could afford to reopen more now. Read a full version in the paper's opinion section or listen to the Voice of the Times. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print, subscribe to its digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, and keep up with the Times. For the Manila Times, this is Paulo Rimapi.